So Carlson Hotels Worldwide currently has about 6 brands in operation across the world for a total of 1,000 hotels, with plans to double that essentially in the next 5 years. There's been a lot of dramatic change in the industry, specifically for our hotel chain in particular, where we operate. And we've seen a collapse of segmentation, which is a very significant threat to our ability to price to demand. And I think everybody in the industry shares that concern. It's obviously very favorable to the customer because they have better transparency to prices, and to some extent, that is also good for the hotels because the price that we put out there have to be more reflective of demand. On the other hand, though, there's the risk that all the prices gravitate to the lowest available rate, and that is of course a challenge, if not a threat, to our business model. The other development that's interesting is the development of online transaction. It has grown from virtually nothing to a substantial share of transactions today. And there again, the potential downside is that it facilitates this obsession with lowest rate and devalues the product in the process. Now, there are self-correcting mechanisms that keep that in check today. Some online distributors now emphasize value with a rating system, stars or what have you, to try and balance out the picture of price and rate. But today, the rate-driven distribution is still the predominant one, and so we keep a close eye on that to make sure that we don't have this slide to the lowest rate. An integral part of growing profitably has to be rate optimization. You have to be paid a fair price for the product you put out there. And we, like a lot of hotel chains or companies, I think in the past have relied on primarily manual methods to get there. And for a long time, that was at least good enough and probably just outright good, because the complexity lent itself well to those kinds of approaches. But with the proliferation of distribution channels, with smarter customers, with a contraction in the market where price takes on a heightened meaning, manual methods, we find, no longer generate the optimal revenue. So arming ourselves with the right tools and the right processes to leverage those tools and to rally the company around a concept of optimizing profit has been probably one of the leading thoughts in driving profits for ourselves and our partners. The thought occurred to us out of necessity. We had, like many hotel companies, in the contraction, we had a lot of hotels that weren't driving the kinds of occupancies they had before. And so the traditional way of setting prices through spill analysis, meaning demand you could turn away because you could hold out for better demand, simply no longer applied. We needed a better mechanism or a different mechanism. So that's what drove us to a rate optimization mindset. And then in partnership with JDA, we developed a tool that does that rationally, in function of competitive rates, in function of the elasticity of our own demand, trying to find the optimal strategy somewhere in there. We found it to be extremely potent in some unexpected ways. Clearly, it does a better job of setting rates than a manual approach with the complexity it's trying to handle. But also, it's been a great learning tool internally where we can drive better transparency and accountability of their pricing decisions. And just the sheer learning power of having that at your fingertips, we way underestimated when we roll out the tool. And it is, in fact, where we spend most of our time today. The rates are set by the tool, and that's great, but we spend a lot of time analyzing the decisions that the system makes and discovering elasticity or discovering distribution strength that we didn't know we had before. The earlier you correctly identify a trend, a deviation, let's say, the more time you have to take advantage of it. And if you're trying to build a revenue premium over your competition, an early warning system on deviation opportunities, deviation as in away from history or away from where the competitor set is at today, gives you revenue opportunity that nobody else sees, at least for a while. So then the question is, how quickly you're going to be able to take advantage of it. But if you have a quick response internal mechanism paired with a early warning system of such opportunities, you tend to be ahead of your competition by a measurable amount. And that definitely has been our experience with that tool.